Hi creative friends, this is Saraya and thank you so much for being here. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while and I just didn't know how should I present it? Art is so subjective, you guys, and just because this is the way one person sees it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna see it this way. There is no right or wrong, especially when it comes to an artist like Georgia O'Keeffe, for instance. Now she has long been such a favorite, dear artist of mine to my heart. And when I first found out about her and her work in my art history class many moons ago in university, I was fortunate enough to take a full year of art history with a phenomenal professor. And one of the things that instantly struck me about Georgia O'Keeffe's work was how, especially during that time of when she was an artist, it was so difficult for especially female artists to hold their ground, and she did. She did not conform. She did not say, I have to compete with male artists on their territory. She carved her own path and she stuck to it throughout her days, and I love that. I absolutely love that about her. But getting to her art, there's something about her art that just appeals to the heart of me. So basically, there are a few things about her work that stand out, that are different from other artists in the way she was looking at things and the way she presented her art. So I'm gonna bring this up closer over here. Now, is this not a delicious abstract still life? This is an apple, this is a plate, and this is the tabletop or the background or whatever. But just look at that, you guys. I'm going to bring it up closer. See, if you bring it up really close, you can see that it's an apple. But when I go like this, it's just simplicity. It's just pleasing to my eye. It's just universal. I love it. It's calming. I'm so drawn to it. Now this book over here is called The Poetry of Things, and it talks a lot about her life, obviously, and her art, and the way she viewed things. So I used to live in Colorado, and it's right above New Mexico. And in Albuquerque, there is a huge museum devoted to Georgia O'Keeffe. I've been to that museum many times. I've been to quite a few of her exhibitions, and she lived in, she did not live in Santa Fe. She lived in, oh, I can't even remember the name now. It's a small place that's a little bit outside of Santa Fe, and she was really influenced by her environment, like the landscape of Santa Fe. And if you've ever visited, it's just such a unique ecosystem. There's something about it that just it strips everything away, and it gets to the bones of things, like the structure of just the rawness. There's just an elemental kind of a feel to the environment. So I'm just going to read this. It's a quote or a poem by her. I have picked flowers where I found them, have picked up seashells and rocks and pieces of wood where there were seashells and rocks and pieces of wood that I liked. When I found the beautiful white bones on the desert, I picked them up and took them home too. I have used these things to say what is to me the wideness and wonder of the world as I live in it. And she wrote this in 1944. So basically, one of the things that stands out to me about her work is that okay, let me see how I can explain this. And this is one of the reasons why I hesitated in making this video. So she took things that are commonplace to us: a flower, an apple, this still life here. This is an apple on a saucer, a plate, and maybe a tabletop. She took things that we encounter in our everyday life, and she took them, she stripped them to their bare bone essentials, and then she presented it back to us so that we had to stop and we had to look at them. Because a lot of times, we will see a rose, for instance, and it's just, a rose is freaking crazy, amazing, beautiful, intricate, a piece of art, okay? we look at a rose and we take it for granted. You know, we don't stop and really look at the delicacy of a rose, just the sheer wonder of a freaking rose, okay? Because a rose is just simply a world unto itself, okay? I could say the same thing about many things: an apple, a sunflower, a tree, whatever, okay? But she would take that and she would strip it down to its rawness, to its elemental nature, okay? To shapes, to forms, to structure. And then she would paint it and present it in such a way that you would look at it, and now it gives you a whole entirely new way of seeing something that you would normally just kind of go, oh, okay, that's a rose, whoop-de-doo, you know, type of thing. And so one of the things that really boggles my mind, even present day, is when she was interviewed, she would tell you know, interviewers, like, you know, she's famous for these flowers. Let me see if I can find them. I mean, she's famous for a lot of different things. Like, you know how, like, see, this is what I mean. She would take something, like, this is a shell, right? And she would strip it down to its basic structure and then present it back to you in a way where you would be like, wow, let me re-look at this. But I want to just show you her, okay, this flower, for instance, right? This is a flower abstracted, okay? But you can still see it's a flower, right? So interviewers a lot of times would say that this was representative of female genitalia, right? That is honestly the take that they would have. And she would say, well, actually, no. This work that I painted, this body of work, this flower, these 20 paintings of flowers, whatever, this is, you know, XYZ. And she would explain basically what I'm saying, which is, you know, yeah, I am wanting people to stop and look at things with new eyes. So she wasn't painting a representation of something as much as she was trying to present new ways of seeing something that is familiar to us, okay? And the interviewer would argue with her about her own freaking work. It drives me nuts up to this day. I cannot get over the audacity, the sheer, just mind-boggling audacity of, here is a brilliant artist who is painting, you know, whatever she's painting. This is a body of work. There is thought behind it. There is structure behind it. There are years of parsing and poetry and writings and, you know, digging into her own visual language. This is not something she just pulled out of a hat, okay? This is her life's work that she has devoted her entire life to. Her whole entire years on this earth were largely devoted to her craft, to her art. And here is an interviewer who is arguing with her about her own freaking work. It infuriates me, and I just cannot even, okay? So I just wanted to say that because it just drives me absolutely batty. But anyways, so one of the things, another thing about her work is, like I said, she was highly, oh, let me just move this, you guys. My desk is shrinking as we speak. You know, it's just, I've got to move things around again, once again. But she was highly influenced by her surroundings. So, you know, she would, like, the excerpt that I read, she would collect bones. And as you can see, she would put them, you know, they were dead, like animals that had died, and then their bones in the desert. And she would collect them because bones actually are, besides the symbolic meaning of bones, they are absolutely sculptural masterpieces. Like, we cannot compete with nature, you guys. Come on now. I mean, the sculpture of a bone of an animal or a human bone or whatever, a leaf, a rose, that is Mother Nature's masterpiece, okay? We can only hope to capture it in photography, in writing, in art, whatever. you know, but the real true master of this whole situation is Mother Nature, of course. And she was very, very influenced by her surroundings, by Mother Nature, by the bones of the desert, by the flowers of the desert, by the adobe structures. And that is absolutely reflected in her work, in her sketches, in her writings, in her watercolors, in her paintings. And this over here is an earlier piece. And then as you can see now, this is much later. So this is in 1919, and this is in 1923. And then as the years went on, she became more and more abstracted still. This one over here, I love, 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 love. Now, this is not as abstracted as her later works, but just look at there's something about this that is just so delicious, you guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Just the simplicity, the form, the structure, the composition. And even here, I can see how she's taking things away and bringing them to their elemental form. Not as much as she did in her later works, like say, you know, this for instance, right? Now this over here is 1924, and as you can see, she's just getting more and more abstracted. And this over here, I would say is, well, this is leaf motif, but I see a lot of the bones in here. You know, I really do. Oops. Like I said, you guys, I'm so sorry, but I gotta clean up my desk. Well, my studio's a mess, so yeah. So I'm just gonna read this. It is the unexplainable thing in nature that makes me feel the world is big, far beyond my understanding. To understand maybe by trying to put it into form, to find the feeling of infinity on the horizon line or just over the next hill. And I just love her worship of nature, her reverence and respect for nature. It's a thing that I absolutely love. Now this one over here is what I was talking about, like with the bones, and this is in 1943, Pelvis with the Distance. Now as you can see, this is this is bones, but look at it. Look at the magnificence of this, you guys. Like, it is sculptural. So what she was doing is she was taking something that, yeah, we all know, we know what bones look like, right? We probably don't give it much thought, but she was taking it and giving it the detail, the reverence, the newness of seeing this now as sculpture, as art. Like, look at the grandeur of it. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the words fail me, you guys, honestly, because bones are, you can take all the sculptures in the world, the masters, okay, whoever you think a master sculptor is, and to me, okay, this is personal, and I suspect to Georgia O'Keeffe, but I can't speak for her, but to me, there is no way that a bone, the beauty, the delicacy, the just the intricacy of a bone, okay, can compare to the most, masterful sculptures, honestly, you guys. So that's what she did, was she took a lot of things that we would just, I'm sorry, you guys, this is, a lot of it is, writings about her work and her life and such and such and so forth. Now, this is called From a Shell. And again, she's trying to take the nature of the shell. By nature, I don't mean nature as in, I love nature, like as in, nature. But she's trying to take the bare bones of the shell, the rawness, the germ of the shell, the structure. And she's trying to distill that and put it down. And so when we look at it, we might, like, if I didn't read that title, I may not know this was a shell, but there's something about this that's very familiar, but it also makes me stop and say, well, what is this about? Like, let me look at this more, because it feels so familiar to me. And I mean, we've all seen millions of shows, so I'm like, this feels familiar. There's a sense of like, I've seen this before, but I'm seeing it now in a new way. And that's what she did in such a masterful way. Like, you know, these are poppies, but just look at it, you guys. Just look at the lushness, the deliciousness, the beauty, the rawness, the structure, the poetry, you guys. Oh my God. I don't want to seem redundant, and I am being redundant, but so getting to this over here, so this is called Slightly Open Clam. And as you can see, like a lot of you know, I guess interviewers at the time would say, well, you know, you're painting female genitalia, you know, the symbolism, la, 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 la. And she would say, well, actually, no, I'm not. And then they would argue with her. Like, look at this, you guys, black and purple petunias. Oh, my heart. Look at this. Like the colors, the form. I am absolutely in love. Like, look at that, you guys. So anyways, you guys, this book is actually about her life. She dated a famous photographer, and, you know, people tried to make her work about, you know, his work, and she was like, no, my work is my work. And she actually really was a huge influence, not only in art, but for women artists specifically. And as you can see, the adobe structures there, and she lived a very, very long life, and she devoted her art, she devoted her life, her years, her time to her art. Anyways, you guys, I hope that this has just been a little foray into the art of Georgia O'Keeffe. I hope something that I've shared with you resonates with you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.